So I was thinking we could talk about the concept of mine, not mine today. I've prepared some questions, my little note cards.
Excellent.
And I do think this is one of the more important concepts that we talk about and teach with Play into Being. So I'm curious if there is an easy way to unpack like the basics around it. Like what's the basic premise?
Yeah. I don't have a shorthand for this one yet. We'll maybe find it. But in doing any kind of work, or inner work, outer work, life work, all the kinds of work, there are patterns that you're bringing in from inheritance or society, and then there are the patterns that are sort of your internal intuitive notions, right? And one of the things that can happen when those things get confused is we can feel confused or frustrated or downright horrible because we are operating from something that is not ours. So basically, mine, not mine is an exercise or a mindset that clarifies what is yours and what is not yours.
And the concept of, when you're talking about that, it's what is yours to do and be in this world?
It has a sort of meta aspect to it, but yeah, like in like a very concrete sense, the way that this came up the first time in its clearest form was I was working with a client, and the client had a tendency to take on obligation and responsibility where it wasn't his. He has like a huge creative engine. He has a lot of capability, and he was taught very young that how he was valued is by taking on everybody's stuff and then doing it, right? And so when it came time to do his project, his work, he kept sneaking in all of these other aspects of the business that he didn't want to be doing. And he felt sort of crazed about this, and he would get into this place where his energy would be diminished because he's doing a lot of things that are not his. So we brought up this sort of practice of laying out in 2 columns what's yours to do and what's yours not to do. Mine, not mine.
That makes sense. I actually just sat with a client yesterday, first in-person producing client, which felt really good yesterday. And she has a really good felt sense of what's hers and what's not hers. And so it came up when it was like, okay, next, like this release cycle is about shipping a website. And she was able, with like very basic like discussion and prompting, to identify, I need help with creating, like selecting fonts, like typology, and then, or typography rather, typology. What is that? I don't know what that is.
It's
the ancient art of...
The ancient study of type.
Typography, and then like basic design, like color palette. And she can do that, but she's like, in the past I just get bogged down and I don't want to do it. And she kind of looks at me like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, do you know designers who could do that? And immediately, oh yes, here's a list of people I can reach out to.
So the notion there is like, she can. And then so she is taking what is not hers, and she is like owning responsibility for it. And immediately she's stuck. And like she's stuck in this decision: do I do it or do I not? Or
she doesn't want to do it.
And so when you make the move, one of the helpful producing moves is this yours to do? And giving her the option to feel in her body: is this one mine? And no. Okay, then whose is it? Like that's the natural next step in this thing.
So that's another one of my questions. I don't even have to look, because I've had this question so many times, and it will come up for a lot of early stage founders and entrepreneurs. So what do you do when you're super early and it's not yours, but there's no one else to do it, and maybe you don't have the funds to hire? Like, is this where you ask for favors? Are there times when you do things that aren't yours just so it's good enough to get out the door? Like, and I think this is a hard question because it's contextual, but I did want to have a conversation about that because I'm also personally curious.
I think there's a lot of there's a lot of different answers based on the context. In an ideal world, you're in a creative scene or community where you can trade. Like, this is art communities work this way. Like, I need a little of this and you have a little of that. Can you edit this? I'll do this. Like, I can do graphic design if you can.
Yeah.
And being very clear about how your trades work and being honest and open about value is a difficult thing. And so there's stuff to navigate there.
That's a whole conversation about mine, not mine, like trades.
Exactly.
Like, here's what I'm doing, here's what, interesting.
There's also finding it within yourself to hire out what you can to get it moving forward. Yep. There's also, I've been interested in doing things like pairing, where I do the work, but I'm not alone in it. So say, for instance, I don't want to make a website anymore. I can make websites. I'm very good at it. If I had somebody there to provide some of the decision making on like fonts and all these kinds of things, I can do the work and then we can move it forward. So there's a lot of different ways, but figuring out what is your edge on that kind of thing. And like, for me, hiring it out, sometimes I don't want to hire it out because I like doing everything myself, but it's not mine to do. So this is a blurry answer.
It's kind of a blurry question. So I do think it's really contextual. So because part of the thing too, hiring it out, I mean, there's like a whole can of worms here that we don't have to open too much, because that could be someone's edge of working with like money stuff, which is a whole thing, and that might be yours to work with, like that. I think
edge. That's a better frame of the question. What is yours to work with? So mine to work with right now is I can do a lot of that work, but it is more important for me to set up the work so that someone else can do it. Like, I'm in that stage of moving into leadership or moving into collaboration or delegation. And there's a moment where if you are a very creatively capable person and you've learned how to do all of the things, I think that stage is important for some types of creative founders. A lot of them, like, because if you get a taste for how everything works, then you can better collaborate down the road. And so understanding, okay, this one is mine for now, and I'm going to take it as far as I can take it so that I can get into the problems in the world that I need to get into. And then later, it's not going to be mine anymore. And so shifting, so it's a constant sort of sensing into what is yours right now to do.
And that's actually one of my other questions. So can we talk about, and maybe we both have an experience of, what does it feel like when it's not yours? Because I think, and what does it feel like when it is yours? Because they're distinctly different feelings. And like knowing what that is for you and how it shows up. And I think again, it's contextual. Like, these things will show up in different ways depending on what the task or activity in question is. And over time, because part of like what's going through my mind, if you're working through something that isn't in the past, like triggered you, like you have some history with, I just keep using the example of money, like paying is hard for you. You are frugal and like you've got your reasons. And so when it's yours to work with that and like it's mine to pay out and like that's what I'm working with, it might not feel exciting and fun. It might feel a little daunting. And so like that might be confusing too, because I've had this before where around money as well, like it doesn't feel good, and like that probably means that I shouldn't be hiring out. I should just keep it all within. But it could mean the exact opposite. So I think they're like just opening up the conversation around what it feels like and how to discern.
I mean, having somebody help hold the space around particularly the more difficult feelings can, the outside perspective, pairing with somebody or working with a producer or therapist or coach or something like this can be very helpful on this for disentangling the particular ones that are like, family of origin based and all this kind of thing. You can make some headway there by sort of working somatically with what's coming up, because the most inner work version of mind not mine is sensing into, like, so we can use like sort of critical voice as an example of this.
Yep.
Right? You know that you're a writer, okay? And you're here to write. And every time you sit to write, like, you know this is yours. This is yours to do. You love to do it. Every time you sit to write, the voices start. And you start tensing up. And, okay, like, it is yours, but it feels bad, right? What is not yours in that place are the lying voices. And so the work there is to feel how you tense up and then work with the response of that tensing up.
Yep.
So it can be confusing in there. Like, where are you working? Are you working internally or are you working externally?
Yep.
It's almost always the mind not mine thing is an internal negotiation. So in the case of doing someone else's work, right? Like, I have had this, like, I am obligated to present the product that I've made in a way that feels as close to what I've made it as possible, right? Because in the past, somebody sort of took away my agency in that place, right? And so I'm like, I have to do this. It's a sort of self-reliance kind of pattern. But I'm not necessarily the best at doing that. It's not trusting that someone else can feel the value of the product.
Convey that to
right?
other people, yeah.
And so what is mine in that scenario is to relax into the possibility of collaboration. And then from the place of not controlling the whole thing, offer what I can offer so that the marketing can go out into the world in as resonant a way as possible, letting the person for whom it is theirs take it and run with it. So I think that there's an internal sensing around
very much so.
The mind not mine. And the more convoluted it is, like, the more that you're probably in some old pattern that could use some outside eyes on.
Are there any practices? So, like, one practice is to, like, either find a friend that can hold the space, or hire a coach or a producer or a therapist, like that sort of thing. You mentioned, like, the two lists,
I think
like mine.
2 columns is probably the best version of this.
Can you describe that practice, maybe in a little detail?
Yeah, and it works well with somebody else holding the space a little bit. And so some area, the way that I'm thinking of it now, like, you're leading your company, and there are all of the things that you need to do within the company, right? Marketing and accounting and design and product and customer relations, et cetera, et cetera. It's a good practice to sort of list those out anyway and have a sense of where they are and how they're moving and et cetera. You can then take that list and go through one by one and put them in a mine and not mine column. And the way to do this is to bring up whatever it is, say accounting.
Sit with it,
right? And there are some aspects of accounting that I'm interested in, but do I want to do spreadsheets all the time?
No.
And my body will be like, ugh.
Yeah, my body's very clear on accounting. I've tried to make it mine, and I just, what is it, like the double accounting, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, double entry bookkeeping,
There's something about it that turns my brain in a pretzel every time I, like, reconciling, and the number of times, like, it's probably pretty straightforward. There's just something here, and I'm like, I can just pay someone to do this and they will do it well and easily, and it takes me way more time every month to do this. Like, I need to let it go. So that one is...
And so releasing that is a process.
Yes. I had to go through that process too, because I thought it was mine, because I should, like, I think looking out for the shoulds is oftentimes...
Shoulds versus wants.
Yes.
That's basically the bodily felt sense.
Yes.
So when you want to do something, like, go and find something that you really like doing, that you want to do all the time, right? And then feel what it feels like in your body. How does the energy move through? What is creativity like? How do you show up for it? Like, do you procrastinate? Like all of these kinds of things, right? There is a signature feeling of that kind of thing. And then go pick something that you absolutely know that you do not want to do, right? And this could be accounting, this could be anything. And feel what that's like. Notice how your body responds. Like imagine the posture that you're even taking in relationship to these things. And then sort of go through a list of the stuff that is in relation here. In this case, it's like all of the things that you need to do in your business.
Yeah. So you need to set aside some time to do this and room to feel into it. And if you're not working with someone, my like initial instinct is you could journal about it. Like
I
what's
think
coming
literally
up.
write them out and then take time with each of them. Feel.
In
you
your
can
body.
Also write out what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because this tangibilizes or talk it out, however you like to do it. But spend some time. It's a feeling practice.
Yeah.
And understanding how you are feeling in relation to these. And sometimes you don't know. There's a confusion there or something. That's an answer, right? What is the confusion telling you?
Yeah. And it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
Come back later kind of thing.
And it's one of the things here, especially when you're doing something as broad as all of the things that you need to do in your company, that point that you made earlier about, it might be yours to do now, but it won't be later.
Yeah.
Like feeling into now, like the next 3 months or the next 1 month or the next week or whatever it is versus all time forever, right? Like sort of scoping it in time.
I think I have a bad habit of, this is a pattern of mine. It's mine to do now in some way, shape, or form, but I don't want to because I'm like being a brat about it. Like, I don't want to have to. I don't want this to be mine.
Yeah.
And so I fantasize about the future and what happens at like, how much money do I need to make in order to hire that thing out? And then I'm just avoiding doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, you're changing the rules of the game that you're playing now to be an alternate game.
It's not being present.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like, I'm just noticing that pattern, which is interesting because my other question here is around self-reliance. So what I'm talking about is almost an avoidance of self-reliance and like, I don't know what the inverse of self-reliance is, like, I guess in an extreme, like enmeshment or something like that, dependence, codependence. But yeah, I guess that's interesting. Like, there's two kind of poles here. So you're overly relying on other people or you're overly relying on yourself. And so I know you gave an example of self-reliance, and I know that's something that you have worked with, like thinking you have to do it all on your own. And then me, I don't want to do any of it on my own.
Sure.
There are certain things that I love doing, and part of what I was thinking when you were just talking a bit ago was some of the product design and like experience design and inviting people into spaces. Like, I cannot imagine giving that to someone at this point.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's a point in the future where that's not something I would do, and it would be a transition for me to hand it off, but there are certain things that are like very clearly mine and I really like doing. There's plenty of things though where I want more people around than are possible now. So what I'm looking for based on this conversation in my experience is what's mine for those things that I don't want to do, that there's something I need to learn there in order to move it forward until I can offer it out. So yeah. No. I have less of the self-reliance piece.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's more to say about the self-reliance.
I think we're sort of teasing that out. Like, my experience has been primarily working with myself, obviously, and I have self-reliant tendencies, and then working with others who are very self-reliant. So, but yeah, I've also had places in which I'll just delegate it out without thinking about it. I don't even want to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And that has caused me problems in the business because And so there is a finding the relationship that allows you to claim your part of it,
yes.
right? So this is where mixing up mine, not mine, right? That one's not mine, and using it as a way to like disassociate or distance yourself from the thing.
I think we're touching on something really important about the relationship to your business, and the different pieces of the business and or company or project or whatever you want to call them, which is kind of like an advanced, like one of our core teachings is that your project is alive. You can talk to it. And so now it's like we're sort of introducing that your project has parts, and a lot of the meet your project and that workshop and that sentiment and that teaching does feel a little bit like parts work for people who are familiar with that, like internal family systems, and we've received that feedback. So people who have that understanding can kind of download it. Oh, it's like I'm talking to a part of myself, but it's my project. Your project is kind of in some ways like an extension of yourself maybe. But now we're saying that it's not just your project as like a single entity, it's your project and it has parts. And so the parts kind of are mapping onto like different departments or like different like major task areas.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm bringing this into conversation is I do think it's important to have a relationship with the pieces, or knowing what your relationship is. And it doesn't mean that you need to be in a close relationship with every part of the business, but knowing what your relationship is to it is probably a sign of a healthy business relationship.
Just having an it is about conscious relationship.
Yes.
So there are needs across your organization, your business, your project, and are you aware of those needs, and are you aware of your relationship to those needs in fulfilling them personally or through collaboration or through help or however that looks. And the line that comes to me is the it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to raise a business, to raise a project.
Yep.
And so the village is there to supply all of the different needs relationally that are necessary to bring the thing into health.
Yep.
And so you can look at that as parts, you can look at that as people, you can look at it's a relational organism basically. And knowing where you stand in that, and then knowing knowing yourself in your particular types of patterns of ownership and disownership.
Yep.
Like that's what the mind not mine stuff is.
Yep.
In the self-reliant case, there is the I'm going to own more than is mine. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to wear myself out, and I'm going to feel alone, like nobody will help, and et cetera, right? And so countering that and opening up that is part of the inner work that will make your project and business flourish. And in the dependent case, it is, I can't own that, I don't trust myself, or I don't want it, or it's uncomfortable, or whatever it is. And stepping more into ownership and self-reliance is creating the independence and knowing yourself that is necessary to grow the project. So wherever you sit, understanding how you relate to that, and then being able to compare notes and to pair with other people on your strengths, basically.
Yeah. The thing that's really sticking out to me there is just relational network and how you're relating to pieces of the whole, whether it's within the project itself, whether it's within a team, whether it's within this broader like community of mentors or peers to give feedback, and all of that relating in some way to mine, not mine. Yeah. And then there's this other piece that I'm struck by, the developmental nature of what's yours and what's not yours and how that changes over time. And so that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I know, like I gave the example earlier with my relationship with accounting. So when I first became an entrepreneur, like setting up QuickBooks and like figuring out, like I did that because I did want to learn, and it was mine to like understand and figure out, and then realizing very quickly that it took up too much time, it stressed me out, and so then it's like I graduated to, I'm going to hire this out. Even when it's like an early stage business, like it just saves me a lot of grief. And so it's interesting because I think there's probably a similar trajectory like that for most founders, and in particular. So when you're starting something, you're going to start with doing a lot of the pieces and figuring out like what your relationship is to them. And then over time, that level of ownership probably shifts as you bring more people in or as you automate things. So like you were saying, if you don't have a relationship to something that you are referring out for or that you're outsourcing, that's probably not the best idea. And so, yeah, what's ours, what's not ours will evolve and change over time.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and there are a bunch of different patterns on that. You know, you're just thinking about solopreneurs, and they like running a one-man band or whatever it is, or one-person band. And sometimes that is a ceiling that needs to shift.
Yep.
Bringing other people in and this kind of thing, or agents in the case now. So yeah, it's sort of, or you're just purely a delegator and you like to have a big team around and all this kind of thing. And if you're coming maybe from that environment where you were in corporate or something, and now you're moving into doing your own thing, you don't have the resources that you had before.
Yep.
And so your mindset has to change, and there's an opportunity to grow in competency and notice what actually creates the livingness of your organism, the project, right? So there are a bunch of different paths on this. I think it is constantly a question of like, what is mine to do right now? What is making me most feel alive in the work? And what is like creating sort of dead spots or inertness in the thing that I'm making? And so that's the closest to the body practice. And then it can be applied in any number of places.
Yeah. Is there anything we didn't talk about, or anything that sparked that we didn't follow?
No, I mean, there's a lot of nuance and specificity that we can jump off to in all of these, but I think we got the basic premise of Mine Not Mine.
Yeah, I've noticed with a lot of our teachings, everything is so contextual because how it shows up is, and like, I've just found that so much with business and entrepreneurship in general, and in particular in the early stages, especially working with creative founders or people working from the inside out, like what your experience uniquely and sensitivities are, and like how that is coming to be in your project, whatever that product or offering is, is very unique. And so the commonalities across all of them are these kind of, it's almost like prompts or stances that you can take on the work, like the Mine Not Mine, your project is alive. It's like ways to get into better relation more consciously, like as you pointed out, but it's less of this is exactly how it is, this is exactly how it works. There's more play, there's more wiggle in the system.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing your understanding of what you're bringing into the world to all of this. And so the way that we're providing teaching is a way of sensing and noticing. And it's very much up to you. Like you're running the show.
It's an invitation.
And so this is what founding is very often, is figuring out how to trust yourself and trust your nervous system and trust your intuition. And that's a practice, right? And one of the ways to do this is to sensing into what's yours and what's not. Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
High five.